Okay, so it's just past 7 o'clock in Madrid, and I think we'll get going. Is that all right with the founding team? They are shaking their heads, so we shall begin. My name is Craig Gamble. I'm the head of school at Brewster Madrid, and we welcome people from Madrid, from Spain more broadly, from the United States, East Coast, West Coast. Thank you for joining us. It's a big crowd tonight. We're going to try to keep things moving so that we can give you one piece of critical information, really, and that is what makes us different and what makes us an interesting conversation to have as you're thinking about schools in Madrid. So let's go to the next slide. And what I'd like to do first is to tell you a tiny little bit about myself, turn it over to the rest of the founding team, and Michaela will wrap up and then give some words about how we're going to operate this webinar. Again, my name is Craig Gamble. I've been in schools for 35 years. It is all I know. I've been thrilled to come to Madrid and to bring with me not just this remarkable way of teaching and learning that we call the Brewster model, but also come along with this wonderful group of people who you're going to hear from tonight. And I'd love to turn it over next to Brett.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brett Barnett. I'm one of the deputy heads of school. I've been working at Brewster Academy in Wolfboro, New Hampshire for about 20 years. I was a math teacher. I was a department head. I was in charge of residential life, in charge of clubs and activities. Super excited to be a part of the founding team here in Madrid and look forward to getting to know all of you. Nancy.
There always has to be one of us, right? And it's always me who forgets to unmute. So apologies there. Thank you, Brett. I'm Nancy Hughes, and I'm the Dean of Faculty here. I'm busying myself with some hiring and admission work here in Madrid, which has been terrific to meet lots of fabulous kids and families. But I guess I generally consider myself to be an English teacher at heart. I am also, in a moment of full disclosure, married to Craig Gamble, and we have been working together at independent schools in New England, in the United States, for about 35 years together. And I will pass it on to Jonathan.
Thank you, Nancy, and welcome to everyone. I'm Jonathan Fauser. I'm a lifelong educator, 25 years working in schools, both public schools in the United States, international schools, and of course at Brewster Academy. And why I'm so excited to be here is because I know that great schools make a difference in all of our lives, and particularly in the lives of children in our care. Going to pass it over to Michaela.
Hi, everyone. I am Michaela, or many of you might know me as Mika, and I'm currently working as the Dean of Admission. I am very excited to be a part of this project. My background is in teaching. I spent some time in Spain working as an English teacher before I moved back to the US teaching Spanish for a few years there. I thought I wanted to be a math teacher as a young student in school, and then realized that I love Spanish. I love speaking the language. I love learning about the culture and meeting lots of new people and being able to communicate with them. So that is kind of who I am as, in my background, a teacher, and I'm excited to be here. I will turn it over to Natalia.
Hello, buenas tardes, everyone. I'm excited to be here. I'm the Admissions and Program Development Associate. I have worked in schools and art museums in the US and abroad, and so thrilled to be here in Madrid, where there's such great museums, and we're excited to really integrate them as part of our offering, and you'll hear more soon. Now pass it off to Michaela to go over the webinar features.
So, hi everyone again. Hola a todos. Voy a explicar un poco en español lo que vamos a hacer esta tarde. Bueno, pues realmente queremos contar un poco de nuestro programa del colegio y cómo somos diferentes, como ha dicho Craig. Entonces, en esta sesión, pues vamos a hablar en inglés, pero hay una slideshow en español que vamos a enviar. Habéis visto que tengo unos problemas técnicos con el link, pero voy a intentar a compartirlo en el chat. También puedes usar esta función de Q&A, está debajo de tu pantalla, para preguntar preguntas en español o en inglés y vamos a intentar responder durante la sesión. Entonces, vamos a seguir y Craig, you can take it off.
Gracias, Mika. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Brewster and a little bit about Brewster Madrid for a few moments. And again, my name is Craig Gemmel. For those of you who are joining us late, I am the head of school at Brewster Madrid. I was for 7 years the head of school at Brewster Academy, and for the prior 27 years was working at other New England independent schools. So about us, if we can turn to the next slide. Brewster Madrid comes from a 203-year-old school, Brewster Academy, founded in 1820. And for the last 203 years, we've been providing world-class education to students, first from Wolfboro, New Hampshire, then from New Hampshire more broadly, and now from now we provide education for students from 25 United States states and 27 countries around the world. It is located in Wolfboro, New Hampshire. We are on the largest lake in New Hampshire. We have half a mile of shoreline, 80 acres of priceless terrain around the lake. It is a fascinating school because we are 203 years old, but we have been for a very long time extremely innovative, and our innovation has largely been focused on being able to serve a diverse population in ways that each individual needs to be served. We are an independent school, and in Wolfboro, we are grades 9 through 12. We also have a boarding program, a total of about 350 students, about 150 faculty members. So that's from where we're coming. Next slide, please. And this is perhaps the single most important slide for me to explain clearly. We are a school with a very clearly articulated purpose. Any great school has a great mission statement. And ours is, we prepare diverse thinkers for lives of purpose. And I want to spend a moment on this slide because I think it's quite important that we explain how we are different in our sacred language. We prepare in a particular way diverse thinkers, lots of different kinds of minds, from the super high achieving kids who have great ability to memorize quickly, to the more creative kids, to kids who have a brilliance that has not yet been discovered. We work with them together in incredibly intentional ways. That is our preparation. And what are we preparing them for? We're preparing each and every one for a life of purpose, which I think is the highest calling of a school. Particularly now in this world, we need kids who are capable of growing up with the tools and the skills necessary so that what they can ultimately go on to do is to shape the underlying conditions of others and therefore the world. That is what Brewster is all about. Next slide, please. In 2016, having been the head of school at Brewster for over a year, I realized this special, this unique, and this powerful way of educating should not only exist in this beautiful little hamlet in New Hampshire on a lake. I found myself compelled by the idea that the highest purpose of the school is not just to work in Wolfboro, but to work in other communities as a way of transforming other students. And therefore, our vision statement emerged, an approach to learning that has the exponential power to transform education, communities, and the lives of students in our care. This is why we came to Madrid. Next slide, please. What really makes us different? Let's get into the details. So next slide, please. First and foremost, we are, as far as we can tell, the only American or international school in Madrid that actually has a flagship campus in the United States. We have real bricks and mortar, very vibrant, very healthy place that is our flesh and blood in the United States. We expect within this next academic year to have a number of modes of collaboration between Brewster Academy in Wolfboro, New Hampshire, and Brewster Madrid on Eloy Gonzalo in Chambéry. How is it going to work? First and foremost, we're going to make sure that our kids in Brewster Madrid have the opportunity to work virtually with students who are in Wolfboro, language learning, exchanging cultural practices, sharing lessons around material that matters, perhaps doing some service learning work virtually. We will have a middle school summer program in Wolfboro for 1 week that will allow our Brewster Madrid students to spend time in this beautiful place and to feel connected to something that is timeless. We will also have a leadership training program in Wolfboro for our 9th and 10th graders, and that will be somewhere between 1 and 2 weeks prior to the beginning of our school year, which will start on September 7th. And finally, we will have something about which we're very excited, the American Experience, which is a trimester in Wolfboro for 11th graders. And that might be, depending on what the needs of the student are, that might be in the fall, that might be in the winter, that might be in the spring. But it will be an opportunity to exist as a Brewster student alongside other Brewster students. Next slide, please. The reason why we're so excited to bring Brewster to Madrid is really because of the Brewster model. Brewster model is a coherent set of practices intended to serve individuals as they need to be served in a broader collection of different minds. At the core of the Brewster model is the academic team. The academic team is a group of teachers, a math teacher, a history teacher, a modern language teacher, an art teacher, all of the core academic teachers, all of them together function as a team. They meet several times during the week in the morning before children arrive, and their job as a team is to review the progress of each student, to come up with plans to ensure that every student is appropriately challenged and supported. And the academic team, as a focus, has one person on it who is charged with the care of a small group of students, perhaps 6 to 8 students. That is the advisor. The advisor's job is to ensure that students understand what they need to do to be successful. In particular, what they need to do in order to be challenged most appropriately and supported most appropriately. The academic team shares information, develops practices. The advisor then makes sure that those decisions that are made at the academic team level are carried out. This is a very powerful way to adjust a child's program in real time so that the child gets what he or she needs. Next slide, please. Why do we do this? Why do we have academic teams? Why do we pay such careful attention to the care of individual children within the context of a broader whole? Because we recognize that not all students think alike and not all students learn alike. Being very customized in how we approach the education of each student ensures that all students are valued, all students are understood, and all students are prepared in order to activate their potential. Next slide, please. Let me turn it over to John Fauser, who is Deputy Head for Academics, and he is also the person who led the creation of the Portrait of a Graduate.
Thank you, Craig. The Portrait of the Graduate came to fruition after 2 years of work with the faculty at Brewster Academy. We really asked ourselves, what are the skills, habits of minds, and dispositions that young people need to not only be successful in the world, but thrive? And part of this was a lot of collaboration with faculty, but we also met with leading universities, businesses, nonprofits, and we took a lot of feedback in. And over the 2-year purpose, collated and gathered thousands, maybe hundreds of pages of notes, and then started to work out a few really key ideas that express our aspirations for each and every single student that is in our care. A few of them are here. Brewster graduates: enjoy learning, embrace critique, and practice reflection. And I really want to highlight enjoy learning, right? We know that Brewster Academy in Wolfboro